Hello everyone, my name is UltimoFive and today we're going over Nidus Prime, the Plague Knight. Nidus Prime is a Prime version of Nidus and was released alongside Strun Prime and Magnus Prime. In order to obtain Nidus Prime, one must open a variety of relics that contain his blueprint, chassis, systems, and neuroptics in order to make him at the foundry. Requires a mastery rank of 0, comes with a dash, V, and D polarity slot plus a V aura slot, and because of this, the builds on him will require 2 to 3 forma. And Nidus Prime is an extremely versatile frame in which his abilities can be used for devastation, buffing, or protection. Nidus Prime has been buffed compared to the original Nidus. These buffs would be a higher health pool, higher armor, and a higher energy pool. Advantages for Nidus Prime would be that he has a very high health pool and very high armor. Disadvantages, however, for Nidus Prime would be that he has a below average energy pool and he has no shields. Nidus Prime's passive is an infestation dwelling within himself, which mutates when he uses his abilities against those that stand before him. This infestation is seen as mutation stacks, which go up upon a player hitting enemies with Virulence or Ravenous, and after 5 enemies are hit, a mutation stack is obtained. Along with this, Larva has a random chance to generate a stack as well, and another passive is that when he takes fatal damage and he has at least 15 stacks, they will be consumed and grant Nidus Prime with 5 seconds of invulnerability and restores 50% of his health. With his Augmentation Abundant Mutation, the max number of stacks for Nidus Prime's passive increases from 100 to 300, and this passive is pretty good for the reason that there isn't too much of a consequence of dying, other than in consumption of 15 of his stacks. Along with this, his augmentation does sadly add a cooldown of this undying state, but isn't that much of an issue. Nidus Prime's first ability ruptures the ground to unleash a fungal infestation in a linear path. Enemies struck by the growth are staggered and amplify Nidus Prime's mutation stacks and refund energy per enemy hit. With his augmentation teaming Virulence, Nidus Prime's primary weapons is granted a critical chance buff upon hitting 4 enemies with a single use of Virulence. This ability is amazing due to just how easily it can deal with all enemies without any worry, and its augmentation is even pretty good for the reason of just granting a critical chance buff for your primary weapon, which may I say can be a lot if built well. In my case, I was able to achieve 303% critical chance and just decimate everything either with my ability or with my primary. Nidus Prime's second ability ejects an infested larva towards a targeted location that upon impact or reactivation matures and sprouts tendrils that grab all enemies within a certain distance and ragdolls them into the infested mass. This renders them helpless while meshing them together within the infested larva. With his augmentation larva burst, it allows the player to recast the ability to detonate it and deals toxin damage proportional to the enemies trapped within. This ability pairs extremely well with Virulent and is a main combo with the 2 abilities. Simply use your second ability and then spam your first ability until all within the mass are dead. This is pretty much all there is. It is an extremely good ability that helps power your first ability up faster or to just combo. However, its augmentation I never could find an application for. Maybe it could be decent against Corpus enemies with some range focused toxin build, like this one, which is honestly great against a Corpus, even into the steel path if one gathers enough enemies with larva. Nidus Prime's third ability expends a mutation stack to perform symbiosis onto an allied warframe that grants himself and his target increased ability strength and damage. However, when he parasitically links onto a targeted enemy, Nidus Prime will transfer up to 90% damage he receives to the target instead, while the victim is completely disabled, and this link persists as long as his target remains in range of each other as well. This ability is a coin flip really. It doesn't have any practicality for survival unless one is in arbitration, the steel path, or just high leveled enemies in general, which is where I mainly only use the ability. However, if one feels a bit riskier, then attaching to an ally to just overwhelm enemies in these situations can prove to be beneficial as well, just as long as the player is using the Virulent Scourge or Plague Shaman builds. Nidus Prime's fourth ability converts 3 mutation stacks into a massive infestation that spreads outward from Nidus Prime and across the surrounding landscape. Upon this landscape are infested cysts that hatch maggots that seek out nearby enemies to feast upon. Along with this, any ally within the landscape is granted increased health regen, and with his augmentation Insatiable, Ravenous grants him a chance to generate an additional mutation stack when gaining one while standing upon the infested grounds. This ability can be used to keep Nidus Prime and his allies alive, or it can be used to keep defensive objectives alive. The Deadly Pest build for Nidus Prime utilizes an extremely large increase to strength with a large increase to range and decreases the duration and efficiency. The build's flex slots are Augur Reach or Abundant Mutation and focuses on Nidus Prime's first and second ability spam mixed with his third and fourth ability for survival if need be. The build works perfect in the late game due to the increased cap stacks one can obtain through the use of Abundant Mutation in order to increase Virulence's power even further. The Virulent Scourge build for Nidus Prime utilizes a very large increase to strength with medium increases of duration and range and a large decrease to efficiency. The build's flex allows Augur Secrets and focuses on buffing the player's primary weapon by increasing critical chance by 303%. Even though that is the build's prime focus, it still can work efficiently with Nidus Prime's first and second ability combo and having 2 ways to just decimate enemies. The Plague Shaman build for Nidus Prime utilizes an extremely large increase of strength with medium increases of duration and range and a large decrease to efficiency. The build's flex law has Augur Message and focuses on defense even though it is similar to the previous build. Essentially use Ravenous to help regen objectives and keep them safe from enemies, but again, it can still use Nidus Prime's first and second ability combo in order to successfully defend yourself in objectives. First off, the aura slot can be whatever one wants it to be. As long as it benefits one in what they are doing currently, then realistically anything can work there. For instance, Growing Power is a great aura mod to increase ability strength, but Steel Charge can be a better choice. You could even use an aura form on him, so any mod could go there, not just Modora IV mods. Intensify, in place of Umbral Intensify if one doesn't have it. Continuity, in place of Primed Continuity if one doesn't have it. Rage, in place of Hunter Adrenaline if one doesn't have it. Chroma's Elemental Ward in place of Parasitic Link or Ravenous if one wants optional buffs that can assist them into battle. Garuda's Blood Altar in place of Parasitic Link or Ravenous if one wants a way to regen health for themselves or the team. And Rhino's Roar in place of Parasitic Link or Ravenous in the Virulent Scourge build if one wants a way to further increase primary weapon damage. Arcane Energize. Upon energy pickup, 60% chance to replenish energy to nearby allies. Arcane Grace. Upon health being damaged, 9% chance for 6% health regen for 9 seconds. Arcane Victory. Upon headshot kills, 75% chance for 3% health regen for 9 seconds. Arcane Guardian. Upon being damaged, 15% chance for 900 armor for 20 seconds. And Arcane Nullifier, which provides a 102% chance to resist a magnetic status effect entirely. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more guides on Warframe, please click the like and sub buttons to let me know. And as per usual, I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.